Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to draw noses. 2B, medium, 4B, dark, 6B, a tortillon, and a Tombow Mono Zero eraser. Definitely a must-have is a kneaded eraser. So the first one that I'm going to be starting is going to be in, what you want to do is you want to get started with the structure of the nose. Okay, so I'm going to start with the circle, and from this circle I'm going to pivot this line coming into the direction of the bridge of the nose. And then I'm going to also add an additional circle back here. The further that you do your circle is going to be the longer of the nose. And if you're not happy with whenever you're first applying your circle, just erase it and start another one. It's okay. So you want to start another circle, create another circle rather. And then you're going to start with the bottom part of the circle. You're going to create an arch. And it's going to be kind of like a straight line, and then it's going to go into an arch shaped direction. And then with the circle that was already previously made, you're going to want to also add an additional line that goes beyond the circle. And there you go, just like so. Okay, and then we're going to get started with the shading of it. And this part, I like to go in with a medium charcoal pencil and then start cutting out the depth of it. Grab your 6B, hit the dark shadow from underneath the nose. And I want to create this cast, what is called a cast shadow. All right. And this process is all you're doing is just laying down a foundation. And then whenever you begin using your tortillon, you want to just use it in a soft, in an almost soft amount of pressure when applying it to your paper, so that you don't cause any damage to the paper. And this process is probably going to be repeated a few times in order to perfect the nose in which that you're trying to accomplish. Ultimately, it's going to be dependent on how far you actually want to take the drawing in itself. So also I forgot to mention too, tissue paper is probably most definitely going to be your best friend in this situation too, because tissue paper you could always use the tissue to push around this charcoal and to get very, very smooth texture. Create the darkness again from the bottom of the nose. And then what you could do is get your kneaded eraser and then go on to moving in some highlights. Or your Tombow Mono Zero eraser if the needed eraser is not working out too well. Remember, like I just said, that this is gonna be a back and forth process, and until you achieve the goal that you're actually looking for. Tissue paper, blend that out. Medium charcoal. And remember, this doesn't have to be necessarily all buttery smooth or anything. The main thing and the most important thing is making sure that your values are correct. The values are what's going to give your nose and everything else that you draw the realism that you want. Please always be mindful that your values are the most important thing. And see how fast this actually comes together? It's amazing, ain't it? Yeah, just like so. Just like so. Okay, and then we could get started on another nose. Awesome. Okay, that's one nose down, one nose down. Now let's get going on another. This is gonna now be a front view nose, and this one we're gonna draw a circle right at the center. I'm gonna draw another additional circle a little higher, slightly smaller, and the same thing on the other side. Right? This is gonna be the side part of your nostril, and then this right here, this left circle is gonna come down just a tiny bit, as well as the right one. Right? And then you're also gonna make this line right here. Now you're making what is called like an upside U. And remember, every nose is gonna be all depending on the actual person and how their structure of their faces. And then yeah, now so what you're gonna do is you're gonna start creating the the depths of the nose and start applying your tones where they need to be placed. And like I said when I was drawing the previous nose, is try not to get too caught up on all the detail too early on. Now what you're gonna want to do is get your tortillon and you're gonna start just going over the areas you just shaded. And this is to kind of smoothen it out some. And then we're gonna repeat this process, probably rinse, wash and rinse a few more times. Kind of pop a highlight the front part ball of the nose. Now I'm going to get my dark and then go back over this area, the nostrils, to create the depth of the nose. And then now what I'm going to do is kind of come along the right side of the nose to give it a little shadow, indicating that there's a light source coming from the right area of the nose. Don't mind that the dark side of the nose right here too much. This is just to separate. I think it's coming out pretty good, to be completely honest with you. I'm gonna kind of want to add a little bit more shading down here just to kind of give it the depth of the nose and how it goes down and in. And then I could pop a shadow back here, and it's gonna give it that separation. This nose right here has been bothering me, so I'm gonna go back real quick and just hit that bottom part of the nostril just to round it out some, because you don't ever want any hard lines, especially in the facial area. All right. Now let's go on to the next nose. I'll make this one just a little bit bigger so that it's probably more easier to view on the screen itself. And then we're gonna repeat the same process again, and the direction, I mean the circle, and then we're gonna go make our direction from there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so that it's easier for the viewer to see. I always want to start off just a little bit loose, so this way that you're not having to worry about being too uptight too uptight about how your drawing is going to turn out or not. As you can see, this is gonna be the the tilt of the nose right here. Okay, and then the next nostril, I'm gonna want to bounce off from the bottom part of the circle that I initially had drew. That's it. I'm going to use dark my dark pencil, cut out just no, sorry, that's my medium. And I'm going to start cutting out the darkest part where there would be the most saturated part of the dark. Now this is gonna take a little bit more time to do, just based on the fact that it's the direct a different direction and a definitely most weird type direction that you'll be drawing in. Also, too, you could get rid of this circle. Maybe it's a little bit too hard on it. And remember too, just because I'm using a medium does not necessarily that I have to apply the pressure to get the darkness of the medium either. You could always create your your tones just based on the pressure that you're using. And no matter what, it could be the most darkest pencil that you have, and yet you could be able to accomplish any tone that you may very well please just based on the pressure of the pencil that you're using, you know. And with this one necessary particularly, I'm gonna shade with my napkin just from the start. I'm gonna show you why. This area right here, you're gonna want to hit the charcoal and to create somewhat of a triangular shape, just based on the angle of it, and you'll understand why. Because this is gonna be the bottom part of the nose whenever it starts to draw back. And then right here, you could also create a small highlight along the edging of this nostril, just based on the fact right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to come in with just a little bit darker shading down here to create that effect of the nose turning from the bottom to the top. And then with my kneaded eraser, I could come back and I could also lighten up some of this area right here, because I feel like I may have just went a little bit too dark. And the thing is just not to worry about it or stress about it, because you could always go back and touch it all up. Let's just see right now, especially right here in this darker area. And that could even be a little bit more lighter, just based on the fact that it's in a bending area where it's going to go into the eyeball. But that is not what we're covering today. What we're covering here today is going to be just strictly the nose. Okay, so right here, I could use some of this shading right here just to pop in some of this, and then go back on my new eraser and pop a highlight right there. Awesome. So that's that downward angle of the nose. Now I'm going to do a nose facing this direction. I'm going to start off the same process with my eye circle. Okay, now we're good to start adding our shades and shadows and all that good stuff. Remember, this part of the nose could always begin the process with the same tone. I come with my dart. Come in with my piece of napkin, kind of give a little bit of smoothness and shading. And then you could always come back with just your Tombow Mono Zero eraser and begin creating these highlights and and just start popping the drawing as needed and necessary. Just based on the fact that it's gonna start coming together pretty fast, and you want to just not work too fast to where you're over seeing the most important parts, which are your values. And I can never stress that enough, is being able to accomplish your values. What's also wonderful about this the Tombow Mono Zero eraser, I mean the kneaded eraser, is that you could be able to create so many shapes just by forming the shape of the kneaded eraser and just popping it along the edging of the paper. Next knows if and whenever you feel like it is ready, you know what? Let me hit this small area of darkness again, and then we'll be ready to go. I just want to make sure that it looks good. Looks good for my people. Well, all right, let's go. We got two more noses to draw. You ready? You ready? Let's go. We're gonna start as always with our circle. First circle down, and this is gonna be a underneath shot of a nose. So this one's gonna actually be quite weird of a shape to draw. There we go. I'm telling you, this one's a weird one right here. This is definitely one of those those noses that is not very pleasing to draw, to say the least. Lighten up the circle with my kneaded eraser. So whenever you're drawing noses, especially like the way that this one looks, you're always gonna want to be mindful of the perspective in which it's coming from. So that's gonna ultimately determine how this nose is gonna look. Start cutting out all the darkest parts. telling you, this is one of those oddly shaped noses right now. But it's okay. You know what? We're gonna make it look real. We're definitely gonna make it look real by any cost. Kind of look like the penguin got his nose, huh? Now what you want to do is get your kneaded eraser, start popping in some major highlights right here. So there we go with that nose. And now we got one more to go. One more to go. So right here in this area, you want to continue with the same process that I already have been doing. Are you ready? In other words, have you showered yet? So then what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to just come and clean up the edges, right? Clean up the edges to where we know that there's nothing on this side, and then come back and hit some highlights. The highlights where they actually matter and they count. So. Man, I think they all actually came out really good. Let's go do something. I'm already almost done. So then what you want to do is just come back and then pick up a little bit of highlights. You know, you could do that with your Tumble Mono Zero eraser, or you could just use your kneaded eraser, whatever you feel like will be best to suit your drawing. And there you go. There's your drawing tutorial. Have a good day.